What if, one day, in the midst of our chaotic and restless world, Jesus Christ suddenly appeared? How would humanity react? Imagine a crowded square filled with people rushing about. When a simple man with gentle yet powerful eyes begins to speak timeless words. Love one another as I have loved you. Would such a message echo in modern hearts? Or would it be drowned instantly in the endless noise of social media? Today's world is nothing like it was 2,000 years ago. Back then, his words spread slowly from village to village by word of mouth. But if the same happened in the age of the internet, everything would change. Within minutes, countless smartphones would capture his image. Streaming, it lived to every corner of the globe. Jesus would become the center of headlines, news broadcasts, and viral posts. People would share, argue, debate, and even mock him. Some would believe, others would doubt, and many would dismiss the entire event as an elaborate hoax. His presence would challenge long-held assumptions. To those longing for hope, he would be a beacon of light. But to those clinging to power, wealth, and influence, he might appear as a threat. Just as to millennia ago, his words would not be mere moral advice, but a radical call to transform how we live, how we love, and how we treat one another. And such a call is never welcomed by everyone. In our interconnected world, every action he took would instantly draw global attention. If he touched the sick and they were healed, millions of eyes would witness it. If he comforted the poor and forgotten, that image could inspire the world. Yet alongside awe, countless articles, videos, and comments would flood in, insisting it was nothing but trickery, illusion, or clever editing. The eternal question would rise again. Is this real, or just a deception? The sudden appearance of Jesus in today's society would not only stir emotions but also force each of us to confront ourselves. Where would we stand? Would we dare to believe what our eyes see? Or let skepticism blind us from the truth? And maybe, right now, you're asking yourself, if he truly stepped into our modern lives, would you be the first to follow? Or would you doubt and turn away? Leave a comment or hit like to share your thoughts, because perhaps your answer today reveals how you would respond if the extraordinary really happened. If Jesus were to truly step into modern life, he would not simply appear as a historical figure returned, but as a living witness confronting a globalized world. In the age of mass communication, when a single piece of news can reach every continent in seconds, his presence would unleash a global shockwave. And like anything humanity has ever experienced, major media networks would scramble for exclusive coverage. His image would flood television screens, dominate newspapers, saturate the internet, and spread across countless social platforms. Short clips of him would go viral within minutes, attracting hundreds of millions of views. A single phrase from his lips could become a worldwide slogan, translated into dozens of languages. And yet, in the midst of all this, truth and falsehood would blur together. People would ask, is this truly Christ, or merely an impostor magnified by the power of media and technology? Governments and international organizations would not remain silent. A spiritual figure wielding such immense influence would undoubtedly unsettle them. Behind closed doors, world leaders would debate how to control the narrative or even attempt to suppress the spread of this Jesus phenomenon. Those who profit from political power or economic systems would see him as a threat, for his message calls for justice, compassion, and unconditional love, values that directly oppose entrenched injustice and self-interest. Ordinary people, however, would react in vastly different ways. Some would weep with joy, feeling hope rekindle in their hearts. Others would flock to him for healing, comfort, and transformation. Yet there would also be those who treated him as little more than a spectacle snapping photos, recording videos, and chasing likes and views. In a world accustomed to speed and distraction, even the extraordinary might quickly be reduced to just another fleeting trend. What is most striking is that his appearance would not only reveal faith, but also expose indifference. Amid the noise, some souls would sincerely seek truth, while many others would remain unmoved, blind to the sacred standing before them. Indifference, in many ways, could be more dangerous than outright rejection, for it numbs the heart and silences the ability to recognize the divine. If Jesus were to truly walk among us today, he would not only appear on television screens or social feeds, but also in the conscience of every individual. And at that moment, the real question would no longer be, is he real? But rather, are we willing to change our lives when we encounter him? If Jesus were to walk among us today, one of the most astonishing aspects of his presence would undoubtedly be his miracles, turning water into wine, multiplying loaves, giving sight to the blind, enabling the lame to walk, even calling the dead back to life. Such acts would shake humanity to its core. Yet in an age ruled by science and technology, the response to these miracles would be more complex than ever before. Scientists would immediately rush to investigate. Doctors, biologists, and medical specialists would demand proof. A man blind from birth suddenly seeing. They would request medical records, brain scans, and genetic analyses. A paralytic rising after decades in bed. They would suspect secret surgery, undisclosed advanced medical technology, or some experimental biotech treatment. Meanwhile, the media would seize the opportunity. Countless programs would emerge. Miracle or illusion, and science versus faith, prestigious. Laboratories would publish lengthy reports, hundreds of pages long, attempting to explain everything through probability, rare medical anomalies, or psychological phenomena. Yet inevitably, some events would defy every explanation. If someone long dead were to rise after 3 days in front of thousands of witnesses, what theory could possibly account for it? The world would then split more deeply than ever before. One side would cry out, "This is undeniable proof of God," while the other would insist, "It's mass hysteria," or a carefully staged performance. Each miracle would become a storm of debate, not just in academic circles but in daily life. Believers would grow stronger in their faith, while skeptics would work tirelessly to disprove what they consider deception. What makes today's world unique is that miracles would no longer be quiet. Local events, they would be global spectacles. A single healing, a simple prayer, even the smallest act could be broadcast live to billions. The wider the reach, the sharper the divide. Faith would be inflamed in many, but resistance would harden in others. Yet miracles were never meant to be the final destination. Even in Scripture, Jesus declared, "Blessed are those who have not seen and yet have believed." Miracles were signs pointing beyond themselves toward faith, transformation, and love. In our time, they would become a test. Would humanity cling to the spectacle, or embrace the deeper invitation to repentance, compassion, and authentic belief? In the end, the appearance of miracles in today's society would reveal a profound paradox. The harder science tried to explain them away, the more they would expose the limits of human reason. For a miracle does not only challenge the mind, it confronts the heart, where true faith takes root. If Jesus were to appear in today's world, he would not only be known for his miracles, but for his message of love, forgiveness, and compassion, a message that once changed the course of human history. Yet in the modern era, where humanity prides itself on being more civilized, that very message might be harder to accept than ever before. We live in a time full of contradictions. Technology allows us to connect with a single touch. Artificial intelligence grows ever more advanced, and humankind can venture into space. Yet alongside these achievements come silent fractures, broken families, divided societies, and wars and violence that continue to spread. In such a world, when Jesus proclaims, "Love your enemies and pray for those who persecute you." How many would dare to truly listen and live by those words? In a society that glorifies competition and power, forgiveness is often seen as weakness. While revenge is celebrated, social media magnifies this even further. With just a few words, people can cast judgment, throw stones, and condemn others. But if Jesus were to stand among us, he would not encourage condemnation. He would call for reconciliation. That radical message of unconditional love could heal countless broken hearts. Yet it would also unsettle those who profit from hatred and division. Even more striking would be his invitation to deny oneself and serve others. In a culture that exalts individualism and defines success by personal gain, such a call would feel like a complete reversal. Many might admire selflessness in theory, but living it out would prove an immense challenge. Meanwhile, the poor, the forgotten, and the marginalized would see in him their one true source of hope. Today, a single word or action from him could spread across the world in an instant. His message would be shared by millions, translated into multiple languages, and debated on countless forums. Some would be moved to tears, others would mock, and many would dismiss it as nothing more than a passing trend. Yet beyond all the noise, there would be hearts quietly transformed, rekindling a faith long lost. Thus, the presence of Jesus in our time would confront not only external skepticism, but also the invisible barriers within the human heart. Unconditional love, forgiveness for one's enemies, living for the sake of others. Such ideals might seem absurd in a world obsessed with power and self-interest. But it is precisely within this paradox that his light would shine the brightest, illuminating the darkest corners of modern life. If Jesus were to step into today's world, he would face a phenomenon never before seen in history. Artificial intelligence, global data networks, and the immense power of modern science. This raises a profound question. Do people still feel the need for a faith when they believe technology can explain, control, and even replace nearly everything? In an age dominated by reason and scientific evidence, spiritual truth is often dismissed as vague or unprovable. Many would demand physical proof. If you are truly the Son of God, show us through science. Perhaps researchers would rush together, data measuring, brain waves during his prayers, analyzing DNA if a miraculous healing occurred, or even trying to replicate such phenomena in a laboratory. Yet in this relentless pursuit of verification, humanity risks losing the essence of faith, believing not because all evidence has been provided, but because the heart recognizes truth. A world intoxicated with numbers, technology, and proof may quickly fall into skepticism or attempt to explain away every miracle through science. And yet, there will always be moments when science must stop, moments when it stands before realities it cannot define. At that boundary, faith and science need not be enemies. They can become companions. One helping humanity to understand the universe, the other helping humanity to understand itself. Imagine Jesus entering a modern hospital where patients fight against incurable diseases, and with just a touch, one of them is healed. That instant would shake the entire medical world. But would the response only be awe? Or would some rush to deny it, claiming it was coincidence, or simply an unexplained phenomenon? People might spend years searching for answers. Yet the true meaning lies not in how the miracle occurred, but in what it meant for those who are suffering. In this digital age, where humanity believes everything can be stored, analyzed, and replicated, Jesus would remind us of values that can never be replaced: love, sacrifice, and hope. These cannot be programmed, cloned by machines, or measured by formulas. And perhaps it is precisely when the modern world convinces itself that it no longer needs God, that the appearance of Jesus would stand as a resounding reminder. There are eternal truths beyond the reach of science, and the human heart will always yearn for the one whom no technology could ever replace. If Jesus were to appear in today's world, His presence would not only be a religious event, but also a mirror reflecting the conscience of humanity. For his coming would not merely raise the question, is he truly the Son of God, but would challenge each of us with a deeper one. Are we willing to change our lives to follow him? In the rush of modern life, people have become accustomed to chasing material wealth, power, and fleeting success. Yet, even as technology fills our days with light and noise, the human heart continues to yearn for a true love and a meaning that surpasses all calculation. And if Jesus were to appear, he would not only be found on television screens, in headlines, or across social media, but in the tears, the pain, and the hidden longings of every soul. To the suffering, he would bring hope. To the forgotten, he would bring comfort. To hardened hearts, he would awaken faith long thought lost. But there would also be those who turned away, afraid to face the truth that encountering Jesus means life can no longer remain the same. His message once changed the course of human history, and if spoken again today, it would still echo with the same call: love, forgive, and live for one another. This is not a slogan, but the only path toward healing a broken world. The ultimate question is not found in debates, in laboratories, or in news reports. It rests only within the human heart. Do you truly love? That is the greatest miracle, not one to be watched, but one to be lived. And when each person begins to change, the whole world will be transformed. If this message has touched your heart, I invite you to gently press the like button and subscribe to the channel, so together we can continue exploring the mysteries and wonders of faith. Perhaps, in doing so, you too will discover the light and love that Jesus brings.